Saba Stories. Sinbad's Travels Part 1. Sinbad Porter. In ancient times, he lived in the city of Baghdad, a poor man named Sinbad Porter. He would move people in the city every morning to night and earn a little money. That could buy and eat a little with it. He sometimes moved very heavy items. He worked in a very hot weather. He was very tired, but he had no choice. Finally, he has to spend his life. Sometimes he decided to change his job and find something else. But he didn't know what to do. One day he was busy with a very heavy package and the weather was very hot, passed through the dirt alleys. That day he was sweating most of all, walking slowly and breathing. Suddenly, it had reached a large house, where the water was sprayed in front of the water. The cool winds of the burial were dumped in the form of a syndrome. Sinbad decided to rest a little. He sat at the house at home. He put the rain on the ground there too. Sinbad said to himself,
"Good luck to the owner of this house, who has worked hard at a young age and now has this great house that could rest. I wish I had learned at a young age and could do it well. Be comfortable so far. But alas, it's too late."
At the same time, the boy came out of the house and asked him to enter the house. Sinbad said,
"No. I have to take this time for his owner. I just rest here."
The boy came close and insisted and said,
"My master has said that you go to him. We send another person to take the burden for his owner."
Sinbad accepted and went into the house. The house was full of colorful trees and flowers, and a large basin was in the middle of the courtyard. Many workers were moving home. From the yard, they entered the house. Several people were responsible for taking food and snacks for guests. Many guests were sitting around the room, and a few people played with different instruments and singing. The landlord, an elderly man, was sitting on the bed above the parliament. Others talked to him with respect and kindness. Sinbad said to himself,
"Here is the house of kings. Maybe these are giant and fairy. I had never gone to such a chamber."
Then he went close and greeting and sat in the corner. Everyone was surprised to look at the old Sinbad Porter clothes. The landlord pointed out that he went close and said,
"Come closer. All of these are my friends and relatives. I always tell the boy to go home during food and invite him to a party if anyone is there. It is as if you were sitting outside today. Participate at this party and eat and enjoy the food."
Sinbad sat down and eaten. Sinbad raised his hands when he ate his food and thanked God. After the meal, the landlord invited him to go closer. Then he asked him the name.
"I am Sinbad Porter,"
said Sinbad. The landlord smiled and said,
"What interesting. My name is Sinbad, but you call you Sinbad Porter, and I was called Sinbad Marine."
"I am very happy to be a kind and knowledgeable person like you," the landlord smiled and said, The landlord pointed to the walls of the house and said,
"These poems have been written on these walls for a long time."
Sinbad lowered his head and said,
"I was always looking for work to get a bread."
The landlord said,
"But I would love to read them."
Sinbad Porter looked at the poems carefully and tried to read them with a beautiful sound and tone. The landlord enjoyed hearing the beautiful sound and tone of Sinbad Porter and told him,
No one had read poetry for me with such a beautiful voice.
Sinbad thanked and said,
"Thank you. But what is the benefit of this beautiful sound for me? I had to move and spend my life in the morning and night."
The house said,
I had a very difficult life many years ago. You would like to tell you the adventures that happened to me in my life. I would like to know how you have gained so much property. I tried a lot of years.
Sinbad Marine continued.
I went to 7 strange trips and some very interesting things happened to me that no one believes in. The things I tried so much to be able to say them and use them in my favor. I have only lived in this city since childhood and haven't traveled so far,
said Sinbad Porter.
"I would love to tell me about your trips to other lands."
Traveling is very good and we have different experiences, which helps us throughout life,
said Sinbad Marine.
Getting acquainted with different lands and people's lives teaches us a lot of lessons. They cannot be learned by reading in the book or hearing from others. I tell you to feel like you have experienced them closely.
Sinbad Porter was very happy and said,
"I am patiently waiting for you to tell me the beautiful stories of your 7 amazing trips."
To be continued.